The body of Doug Benton has been found inside a block of cement on a farm near Athens, Georgia, with a kill-shot bullet wound in the head and multiple stab wounds on his lower torso. And Doug's friends and neighbors tell investigators they think they know who murdered him.
They all pointed to Tracy Fortson.
Doug's 35-year-old girlfriend. And the only female deputy sheriff in Oglethorpe County until resigning less than 4 months before his murder.
It was pretty obvious that she might be a suspect.
There was not any indication that anybody else had done any of this.
Investigators would learn that at the time of his murder, Doug and Tracy had been dating for nearly a year after meeting at a gym where the two avid bodybuilders both worked out.
He was so excited. He said, "Mom, I met her. I met somebody that I really like."
And Doug's mother, Carol, says it had become serious.
Were you okay with that?
I was very okay with it. I liked her.
Tracy's mom, Sharon, was happy for her daughter, too.
Tracy and Doug had a really good relationship. She loved Doug very much.
But investigators say they heard some disturbing stories about their relationship.
Everybody they spoke to said there was some type of violence or really aggressive behavior between the two of them.
Crime author M. William Phelps, who investigated the case for his latest book, says there were reports they'd even threatened to kill each other.
That Doug and her were pulling guns on each other, sticking guns to their head in arguments.
Tracy would vehemently deny the allegations in this telephone interview with Crime Watch Daily.
We argued just like any other couple, but we never had a physical fight, never. In the whole course of the time that we dated, we never had a physical fight.
Whether there's true or not is beside the point. Law enforcement is getting these stories and they're following them.
And investigators would learn Tracy and Doug had one final argument at his house just 2 weeks before he was found murdered.
According to Tracy, Doug tells her, get out of my house, go home.
Tracy says she obliged.
He wanted his space, so Tracy took that as, all right, you want your space? I'm out of here.
Tracy says she never saw or heard from Doug again, and nobody else did either, after he suddenly vanished.
And that's what we first started investigating, was a missing persons report.
The only clue to Doug's whereabouts was a mysterious note found on his car windshield saying he'd gone out of town and couldn't be reached.
No one knows where Doug is. His mother hasn't heard from him. Nobody's heard from him.
Doug's mother says she sensed her son was dead the moment he disappeared.
I just knew. I said, he's gone. Doug's gone. I just knew it. I don't know how.
And she wonders if Doug might have even had a premonition of his impending death when he made this video of his bodybuilding accomplishments for his young son from a past marriage.
I just wanted to give him something that he'll be able to remember me by in case something was to happen to me.
And then when he's found dead, investigators would theorize Tracy had killed Doug in a violent rage at his house that night they broke up.
He said, that's it, she's out of there. And the guy ends up dead. Law enforcement began to follow the evidence that was being presented to them and started going after Tracy.
Investigators would find bloodstains in Doug's living room and alleged Tracy had vainly tried to mop it up.
She had cleaned the surface of the couch and all that very thoroughly. But of course it soaked through the covering. It was just massive amount of blood.
They also claim Tracy tried to later burn down the house to destroy the evidence.
Someone had gone in and placed scented candles throughout the house, like to start a fire. And I believe there was like the odor of kerosene.
Of course, we pulled the carpet up and you could see the stain where the kerosene had been poured through the carpet and up over and under the couch.
Tracy denies any of that, countercharging that investigators disregarded blood found on a door at the house that belonged to neither her or Doug.
DNA at the crime scene that was that of a male, and it was, it was significant.
And investigators would find evidence in Tracy's home, including ammunition and a .22 caliber rifle they believe was used to fire the bullet found in Doug's head.
While we couldn't say with scientific certainty that bullet was fired from that rifle, we could say this rifle was among the rifles that could have fired that bullet.
Tracy claims it was all planted there to set her up.
I really don't see that a person who's guilty of killing someone would leave the gun in the house, would have bullets in the house that would be fired from that particular gun.
But investigators would also find a receipt for a shower curtain they say Tracy bought to replace the one she used to wrap around Doug's body, as well as receipts for cement and a metal feeding trough to encase it that were identical to the materials used to make Doug's concrete coffin. And investigators found the same cement in the bed of Tracy's truck, which is where they say she put Doug's cement-boxed body to transport it to the farm where it was dumped.
The salesman remembered her buying the concrete, so there was never any indication that anybody else had done any of this, that had bought the concrete or bought the trough or bought the shower curtain.
Tracy doesn't deny buying the cement and the feeding trough, but claims she was going to use the cement to build a dog run and the trough was for her own animals. Tracy goes on to say those materials were actually stolen, claiming they were probably taken by whoever killed Doug and framed her.
It just seems like it's a little bit too convenient for everyone involved that point the finger at Tracy and all the evidence stacks up against Tracy.
Next, Tracy claims she was framed to shut down the sexual harassment lawsuit she filed against the sheriff's office.
I just feel like that is the basis and the foundation for the whole disaster.
No one wanted to believe that a female could get the watering trough from the bed of her truck and place it into the woods.